Hello, hello, hello. It's John Ray's spiritual slash metaphysical meme musings, daily inspiration for awakening entrepreneurs and generally badass people on a spiritual quest. Today is November 18th, 2020. If you'd like to see these memes before they turn into a video, you can follow me on Instagram at John Ray. Let's get it started. From at Kill the Ego, it says, surround yourself with people who handle conflict with maturity, people who communicate how they're feeling without their ego needing someone to blame, people who treat you with respect even when they're upset. These people are worth fighting for. And I put this in because I have had the pleasure, and I put that in air quotes, of working with some incredibly narcissistic people. And it was an incredibly valuable experience for me because what I learned was that I had to stand up for what I believed in and my truth and what I felt was moral integrity in the moment. And there have been people in my life that have pushed me to uh, bend to their will and to cut corners and to potentially do something that was in a morally gray zone. And when I tried to stand strong in my truth, these people lashed out at me and became angry and tried to manipulate me through emotional intimidation to do the thing that they wanted rather than the thing that I knew was right for me. And I stuck by those people for far longer than I should have because I didn't recognize how powerful it can be to draw a line in the sand and say, you know what, this is what I believe in and this is what I stand for, and I'm going to take a strong stand for it. And I had to work with a handful of narcissists in order to get that through my stubborn skull. And it was an interesting experience because working with people like that is a sharpening of the blade. It's growing the pipes of your nervous system so that you can courageously stand up for what you believe in. And so I just want to encourage anybody who is working with somebody who is narcissistic in nature or who you feel is emotionally manipulating you. One, it's okay to get out of that situation. That can be the biggest lesson. I had to grow the courage to actually get out of that situation. It took me a long time to do it. But while you're in that situation and while you're developing that courage, just recognize how it shows up in your body when you're in conflict with someone like that. Because a lot of the times, the reasons that we shirk from confrontation and from conflict is because there's an emotional wound around how conflict has shown up in our lives traumatically in the past. And so, if we will see all people in our lives as a gift that is pointing to the emotional trauma that's ready to be released, we can feel through that trauma. And then, as that energy gets released, it shows up in interesting new characteristics in our own personality and character. And for me, working with narcissists and learning how to handle that level of confrontation and learning to stand strong for what I believed in allowed me to step forward in all aspects of my life with a deeper level of courage and bravery. And that was incredibly valuable. Next up, from at Spiritual League, got this guy meditating with this pretty creepy looking devil behind him. And it says, if you meditate and the devil comes, make the devil meditate. And that is an interesting concept because one of the things that I speak about a lot is how when we're living too much in our mind and in our intellect, we have this tendency for mania to come in, and that mania is an avoidance strategy that we use to not have to feel uncomfortable. And so if you're meditating and the devil comes up, meaning that manic energy comes up and is trying to get you out of your feelings by going and eating the cookie or having a drink or doing the drugs or or sending the inappropriate text message, or calling when you shouldn't be calling, or acting from a place of desperation. These are all manic behaviors that we take on to avoid having to feel the uncomfortable energy of that mania. And so that mania is what we historically have called the devil, and mania attracts mania. And so if the devil shows up in your meditation, if that manic behavior starts to manifest in your life, what you can do is ask, where do I feel this in my body? Get it out of your mind, move it into your body. And our nervous system and our energy systems are so efficient at handling that manic energy, but it will be uncomfortable. It will make us shake and rattle in our seat a little bit. But if we will set a timer for 15 minutes and say, okay, this mania can exist however it wants, I may even take action from that mania in 15 minutes. But for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to let that mania shake, rattle, and roll through my nervous system. And if you will sit and let that agitation play itself out in your body, the mania will start to subside, and you will transmute that energy back into a kind of potential that allows you to make decisions from a deeper place of clarity. Are you looking for a community of like-minded conscious entrepreneurs? I know I was. That's why I created this one. Do you have a business, but you're not sure how to make it profitable? Are you looking to learn how to take practical sales and marketing techniques and accelerate your results using metaphysical practices? Do you want to create spiritual leverage in your life to achieve time, location, and financial freedom? Then head on over to mindbodysale.com, where we're putting the soul back in selling. You're going to learn how to make money consciously, find meaning, align with purpose, and contribute to your community in a bigger way. Go to mindbodysale.com. If you feel like you're right on the cusp of breaking out and finding success, but you just haven't been able to figure out how to bridge where you're at with where you want to be, then this community is definitely for you. You're going to get access to a series of videos that I've created that will show you the practical daily steps you need to take to start finding consistent success in your business. Even if you don't have a product or service yet, we'll teach you how to do that. Plus, you're going to get chat access to me and my consulting team, and you can request custom videos to help you figure out how to start making more money this week. Then we're going to throw gasoline on all that practical fire by incorporating all kinds of metaphysical and spiritual practices to give you leverage and put a multiplier on the actions that you're taking. This is the program for finding time, location, and financial freedom, and flow with ease while connecting with a great group of like-minded entrepreneurs. If that resonates with you, or if anything in this channel resonates with you, please head on over to mindbodysale.com and support this channel. I really appreciate it. Next up from, what is it? We the Ether. We the Ether. So it says, no one sees what you see, even if they see it too. And that's kind of a whoa, mind blown type statement. But one of the things that we have to recognize is that we're all interpreting reality through our own life experiences and our own lens. And so the frame that we're viewing the world through is going to be different from the frame that the person next to us is viewing the world through. And we have to recognize that each of us has a personal universe and a shared universe. And the shared universe is this Venn diagram of all of these personal perspectives and the dance that those personal universes do. And we actually have quite a bit of control over our personal universe and how that ripples out and how it overlays with other people's personal universes. But what we see is always going to be somewhat different because we're viewing it through our past life experiences. And we can have a more vivid and quote unquote accurate view of reality by making sure that we're feeling through past traumas that would otherwise filter our perspective. Because what happens is when we bypass energy, by not feeling our feelings in the moment, well, then that energy gets trapped in our system and becomes mud on the window of the lens through which we're perceiving reality. And so we can clean that window by feeling our feelings, sitting with the energy there, and then getting a more accurate decision space and place of clarity to take action from. Next up from Healthpreneur One, if everything relies on you, then you're the biggest bottleneck in your business. And, this is what I see all the time in my consulting. I've been a business development consultant for almost 15 years now. And the biggest problem that people run into is that even if they're financially successful, they almost never have time freedom. They almost never have location freedom. And almost always they are stuck in solopreneur mode, and their business relies on them. They can't pass the vacation test. And the vacation test is, can you go on vacation for 2 weeks and continue to make money and continue to have a business when you come back? Will your business crumble if you take 2 weeks off? And if the answer is yes, then you don't have a business. You've created a job for yourself. And one of the reasons that I created the community at mindbodysale.com is that I believe everybody should have time, location, and financial freedom. And you do that by having the right systems and processes paired with the right offer and service. And if all of those things are dialed in and you have built out a team with the proper trajectory, then you should have much more freedom, and your business should not rely on you having to be there. Because when everything relies on you, just like Healthpreneur is saying, you become the bottleneck in your business. And that's a very uncomfortable place to be. And you can have so much more leverage and grow at a much faster pace when you have a team underneath you who is inspired by your leadership and has the right steps, actions, and daily processes to make everything in the business run without you having to say yes or no to every little thing. Next up from Christine Atex. Sorry about that, Christine. Christine Atex. There's no rule that says I have to live life like everyone else. The Mind's Journal. And, this is an uncomfortable thing to enact in our lives because the mob wants you to be a part of the mob. The mob is going to try to gaslight you into obedience. The mob is going to gaslight you into being a sheep like them. And unfortunately, the people who think outside of the box and go against the grain and have new ideas and new innovations are often laughed at and are often said that their ideas are crazy, but you get to live your life the way that you want to live it. And what will happen is that people will laugh at you. I forget what the phrase is, but it's they laugh at you and then they storm against you and then they fight you and then you win. Something to that effect. I completely butchered that quote. But the moral of the story is that when you live your life your way and you put your energy towards the thing that feels truthful for you, everything will start to align with that truth. And the people that don't align with it are going to fall away, and the people who do are going to come in and support you. And oftentimes, what happens is that those people who didn't support you early on are going to want to jump on the bandwagon once you get some momentum going. So keep your goals close to your chest and full of vivid energy and creativity, and live the life the way that you want to live, that is resonant of the truth that you want to express. That's what I am doing more and more, and it feels really good to be in truthful, authentic expression. From at You Are Another Me, we've got this, I think this is a Scooby-Doo meme. It says, "Who's behind all my problems?" He pulls the mask off. Oh, it's me. Damn it. I'm behind all my problems. And you know, that is uncomfortable at first to recognize when you're starting to have your awakening experience. But everything in your life is the result of a decision that you've made for the most part. Now, there are certainly some exceptions with children and being born into certain circumstances, but that early trauma that gets absorbed can be felt through and can be used as a catalyst to move into better and better life circumstances. And I firmly believe that we are all 2 to 3 decisions away from a worst case scenario and two to three decisions away from a best case scenario. And the decisions that we make in each moment, those tiny actions that we take, start to compound. And if we will do proactive things that serve the highest good and our highest potential, those are things like reading books and learning and finding people doing the things that we're doing already and learning from them and getting good mentors and stepping outside our comfort zone and feeling our feelings and recognizing that there is a path for us and seeking out that path. When we put our attention towards growth, then growth will happen. But when we put our attention towards victimhood, then victimhood will happen. And so, who's behind all of my problems? Well, if you're stuck in a place of victimhood, then there's an opportunity to shift into a growth mindset. And when we do that, I firmly believe that we can escape and up level out of any circumstance, no matter how traumatic it feels. It's hard to take on that truth when we're in the midst of drama, but it is a truth and it is something that we can aspire towards and call into our lives, and that up leveling will happen faster than we could have ever believed. From at Sadhguru Times, Sadhguru says confidence cannot be a substitute for clarity. And whew, that hits home right now because so many people are so confident in their cognitive bias. They would rather be right than seek out the truth. And there's a huge difference between confidence and clarity. And useful idiots can be made to believe that they are right and they can find confidence in their rightness, but they are serving a puppet master. And when we truly seek truth and clarity, then we're basically saying it would be okay if I'm wrong, and I'm willing to feel the embarrassment, shame, or guilt that comes up from being wrong, so long as I start to gravitate more and more towards the truth. And one of the prayers that I say all the time is, God, show me the truth and put me in your truth, even if it means that I'm wrong about everything that I think I know about the world. And I think that that's a very humble and effective place for us to be growth minded and to allow other people to have their experience and to be curious about life. When we're curious about other people, even if they have an opposing viewpoint from us, then we can still work in harmony with them because curiosity can be that bridge that allows us to all coexist in a more unified fashion. But when we need everyone to think about and see the world the way that we see it, that's totalitarianism. That's mob dictatorship, and that can never be effective and almost always has tragic endings. And so what I want to inspire people to do is be curious about people who think about the world different than you, because when we're curious about people's thought patterns and recognize that there must be something to what they're thinking, or they wouldn't be thinking it. People don't think stupid ideas because they think they're stupid. They think stupid ideas because it's providing them some kind of relief. And so if we can be curious about, what relief are they finding by believing these things about life? Well, focusing on that relief, we all want relief. We can all agree that relief is good, and so that curiosity allows us to find a common narrative around, yeah, we are all seeking relief, and maybe you have different ideas of what that looks like, but we can agree that it would be great for us all to feel a sense of relief and a sense of creative expression and expansion. Next up from Deandra Page, the ego seeks to divide and separate, spirit seeks to unify and heal. And that really marries with what I was just saying, in that if you're trying to make someone else wrong, and I have definitely been guilty of this, then you're part of the divide and conquer strategy. And until we can operate from a place of higher perspective, until we can kind of move into the balcony and look down at our life from that 30,000 foot view, we're going to likely get caught up in the control narratives of the 3D environment. But we can expand our awareness beyond those control narratives and recognize that, oh, there's an opportunity for me to be intensely present and curious about everyone in my life, whether that person is sitting right in front of me or someone speaking on the news. I can be curious about the type of relief they're seeking and why they think their strategies are going to bring it. And that can actually open me up to a way to ideas and creative inspiration and actions that I could take that would serve the greater good, even those who I don't agree with or who don't agree with me. Next up from Law of Light, the universe is saying, allow me to flow through you unrestricted, and you will see the greatest magic you have ever seen. That's a Klaus Joehle quote. Hopefully, I didn't butcher that. The universe is saying, allow me to flow through you unrestricted, and you will see the greatest magic you have ever seen. And boy, when we get out of our own way and when we let the inherent power that God, the universe, creator, whatever you believe is flowing through us, that is a potent place to live. And the creative expression that comes through at that moment, and your ability to be a clear channel for love and truth, and your ability to make decisions that benefit not only you, but you and your family, you and your community, you and your entire state and country, the world as a whole, the cosmos. That all comes from getting out of our own way. And we do that by feeling through our resistance, being willing to be humble. And AJ Miller's definition of humility is a willingness to feel every feeling, no matter how uncomfortable. And when we do that, we can feel through our cognitive biases, we can feel through our cognitive dissonance, we can truly become curious about the things around us, and a new intensity of truth and love will flow through us and ripple out into the world. Also from Law of Void, we've got this tree guru man with some laser beams or something coming out, and he's jumping down the rabbit hole. It says, we are all artists in this life, and our greatest goal is to create from the space within our soul. And that can be a confusing thing to hear if you've not made contact with your soul. But the way that we make contact with our soul is by acknowledging our desires and our feelings in each moment and allowing those to play out on our nervous system. And when we allow our feelings to be an expression by sitting with them and feeling them, we tap into our true creative potential. And that is the potential and energy of the artist. And so when we can make space for our feelings, we make space for creativity. And that feeling through our emotional trauma connects us more deeply into the desires of our soul. And when we're in expression of those deepest soul desires, that's when life feels so satisfying and meaningful. Next up, also from Law of Void, if most of us remain ignorant of ourself, it is because self-knowledge is painful and we prefer the pleasures of illusion. And this is why the mob gets so angry when you try to point out the truth, because the truth is uncomfortable. You can't handle the truth. And for many people, that's the case. They would rather live in their bubble, the illusion that they have decided is reality. And even if that illusion is inaccurate, even if there's a larger truth, even if there's a higher potential way of living, because that higher potential requires that we feel all of the discord that's holding us back, most people won't go to that place, and they will remain blissfully ignorant and lash out at anyone that tries to pop the bubble of that illusion. And that's perfectly appropriate and okay. And allowing everyone to have their experience is a way for us to recognize that we don't need everybody else to be in agreement with us for us to live the life that we want to live. Our life is not contingent on anyone else doing anything. And so we can let other people have their experience, perceive them with a level of curiosity so that we're not projecting judgment onto them, and recognize that if we are willing to have that humility and feel every feeling, no matter how uncomfortable, because remember, no feeling lasts forever. If we will truly honestly sit with the feelings in the present moment that are in our body, those feelings will burn themselves out and transmute back into creative potential. And so no feeling lasts forever. And if we will be willing and have the courage and bravery to feel those uncomfortable feelings, then we can really step in to greater levels of clarity and open up our decision space, and recognize that there is a higher calling and path for every single one of us. And all we have to do is feel our feelings and make the decision that feels most inspired from that new place of clarity. From Isha Foundation, the mind is not in one particular place. Every cell in the body has its own intelligence. And one of the things that Cryon used to talk about was how we can talk to our body. Our body is a bunch of tiny little intelligences. Every cell has its own intelligence, just like Sadhguru is saying here, and we can be in communication with that. And we're sending all of those little mini entities messages by what we eat, what we imbibe, what we watch on television, what we read. We're programming all of those intelligent cells every time we consume something through any of our five senses and through any of our psychic centers. And so when we can have positive communication with our body will align with that positive communication. It will begin to step into greater levels of healing. It will protect itself better because it knows that it's supported at a deeper soul energetic spirit level, and it's taking its cues from that. But then also recognize that in the 3D world, when we eat garbage poison food, when we put poison down our gullet by going to the bar, we're telling ourselves, hey, I kind of want to kill you. Because that's what those poisons do, is they're detrimental to our cells, and that sends a message to the entire body that I'm not honoring you. And so when we treat our body like a temple, our cells recognize that we're in alignment with it. Our mind, body, and spirit are in alignment, and we're all committed to stepping into the highest potential possible. I'm not great at this. I will be the first to admit that I drink too much coffee, and I often have too much sugar, but I am cognizant that when I do those things, I can find alignment with it. I can make sure that I'm exercising. I can detox. I can make sure I'm well hydrated, and I can do it in moderation. And I can continue to show up and tell my body that I love it, and that I believe that my body is strong. I believe my body is a good healer, and I believe that my body, my mind, and my soul are capable of anything, and I can hold the energy potential and wave of that, and that starts to play itself out on how my DNA replicates, and on how my cells show up as a collective to be the meat suit, the beautiful, brilliant meat suit that I use to explore this reality as a conscious avatar. Next up, from Law of Unity, it is through gratitude for the present moment that the spiritual dimension of life opens up. That's an Eckhart Tolle quote. And, I used to roll my eyes a lot at Eckhart Tolle and at a lot of the gurus that would show up at some of the spiritual meetings that I would go to, because I wanted what they were saying to be true, but I wasn't having an experience of what they were saying. And so intellectually I got that what they were saying, but experientially it felt like it wasn't working for me. And so I was like, is this all bullshit? And what I realized was that it is not possible to be present unless I'm willing to acknowledge the feelings that want to express in the present moment. And so much of my life, I was pushing all of my uncomfortable feelings down. And by shutting down the negative emotional centers, those are the same channels that positive emotions flow through. And so when we shut down our negative emotions, we're also shutting down our ability to feel positive emotion. And so then we can't be present, because instead of living in the energy of the present moment, we're living in an intellectual facsimile of the present moment, and a kind of mania that is constantly avoiding and pushing down the emotional energy that we're unwilling to confront. And so when we can have that humility and feel our feelings in the moment, that's when we can really be present with people, things, and places in our life. And that's when we can truly express gratitude. And gratitude is not an intellectual thing. Gratitude is not when your mom tells you, tell them thank you. That's false gratitude. Gratitude is like love. It wells up in you as an emotional energy, and it overwhelms you. Gratitude is something that happens to you and then projects outward, and it's this beautiful energetic experience. And for most of my life, I had only had an intellectual experience of gratitude. But when I started to have the courage to confront what I was actually feeling in each moment, gratitude started to overwhelm me, and I started to have gratitude, and the tears of gratitude and love for everything. When I watch an Apple commercial, when I'm holding a crystal skull, when I'm with my girlfriend, when I'm with my family, when I hear someone say something that resonates as so true, or when I hear someone expressing something that is important to them, all of those things just well up an emotional energy of gratitude within me. And that that experiential happening that happens when that emotional energy of gratitude happens in the present moment does open up a deeper level of clarity and understanding that, oh, I'm not trying to get anywhere. Everything feels brilliant right now in this moment, because I'm overwhelmed with love and gratitude, and that's such a vivid place to be living from. So, that's your daily dose of spiritual magic. Remember, if you're looking for a like minded community of conscious entrepreneurs all working together to create time, location, and financial freedom, then please support this channel and head on over to mindbodysale.com. Take a look at what we've created. We're putting the soul back in selling. If you hate selling, if you don't know how to make money, if you think making money isn't spiritual, then this is the group for you. If you think making money is spiritual, then this is the group for you as well, because we're all supporting each other. We're all setting the intention for time, location, and financial freedom, and we're all making sure that we're holding one another accountable to take the actions that are required to start making money this week. So I'd love to have you as part of that community. Visit mindbodysale.com. Please go and follow all of the meme creators I've highlighted today. Their links are in the description. And if you have a spiritual meme account on Instagram that I should follow, please leave a link and your thoughts on today's meme musings in the comments. Any comments, any questions that show up, once a week I'm going to do a video where I answer all of them. So ask your questions and you'll make it in that video. Until tomorrow, I'm John Ray. Godspeed to all of you. Thank you for watching.